Hello everybody. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about a quick review on how to deal with LSAT strict sequencing games. And we have an example of a game here which we will try to map out, make a master sketch, and then attempt to answer the questions. This might run a little bit long, so I will probably pause somewhere halfway in between and then post up two separate videos. But let's just get right down to brass tacks here. So in this example problem, we know that we are dealing with a sequencing game because we know that we have, it's a student is performing 6 particular activities, blah, blah, blah. Each activity will be performed once, one at a time, and talking about the order in which the activities are performed is subject to the following conditions. So we have one thing at a time in a specific order. That is a strict sequencing game. So let's look at what our rules are. And remember, what we're going to do is we'll first make a kind of a preliminary sketch. Since it's 6 activities, one at a time, I'm going to list out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, these would be our days, or I guess the order of well, it's all on one Saturday, so it's just the order of what we're doing. All right, and then we have these different activities, and we'll just abbreviate them. And I would encourage you to do this when you're making your sketch. Is just write down the first letter for each thing. So we have G. Looks like we have G, H, J, K, L, and M. Man, that's a busy Saturday. Good grief. Anyway. That's a lot more than I ever do. Well, actually any day. I wasn't going to say not even just Saturday. But anyway, back to that. So, so an overachiever over here. Okay. So let's look at what the rules are. So this is our preliminary sketch. We have to fit these things in here somehow. And let's see what we've got. Well, rule number one is it says that G has to be immediately after H. So that gives us a block, right? We know we have to deal with H, G together. All right? There's the first one. Rule number 2, K has to be earlier or behind grocery shopping. So I'm going to put K, and remember we didn't specify exactly where behind it is. We just know it has to be behind it somewhere. So that's where we use the little dots. Okay, so rule number 3. M has to be earlier than laundry. Well, same thing like here. M has to be somewhere behind laundry. And then it says M has to be either immediately before or immediately after jogging. Now, there are 2 ways that you can write this, and you go with whatever is comfortable to you. But we basically have a block, right? So it's either going to be one of 2 things. We either have a block that's MJ or a block JM. So some people like to do this. Some people would say, okay, we have either MJ or JM. Other people, if I scroll down a little bit, including myself, like to do something like so. I just do M/J. You just got to be careful with this, though, because if you do that, what that means to me is that I know that I have to have a block with M and J, and it doesn't really matter which order. I can have J, M, or MJ. But for some people, this might confuse you, making you think that M has to be first. So just be careful with that. All right. So then, all right, once we've got our basic rules, the next step is going to be, can we combine anything? And it looks like we can. What we're always looking for is where certain entities, whatever pieces we're playing with, pop up more than once in the rules. And it looks like we've got G appearing in 2 of the rules, so I can combine those together. I can say that makes, we've got to have something like this. We have a rule K ... HG. Right? We know H and G have to be together. K has to be behind G. Therefore, smushing those 2 together, we get that rule there, the blue one. And then also the same thing for rules 3 and 4. We have M has to be behind L, but we know M and J have to be together, right next to each other. So again, we can do kind of a couple different ways, but the way I would write it would be, I would say M/J ... L. An entirely acceptable alternative would be for you to write down JM ... L, but making sure to put or MJ ... L. Either one. I like the little slash notation because it's shorter and to the point, and I just make sure that I remember that when I have a slash in between, it means that the position of these 2 pieces is interchangeable. Okay, so really what we have is just these 2 basic rules here. So now with that being stated, those rules, and I really encourage you, pause the video at any point If I'm moving too fast or this is not making sense, kind of rewind over it. You can always also shoot me an email or let me know if I'm just babbling here, and if there's something that I can clarify, let me know. Okay, let's go ahead and fill in what we know based on these rules here, then I'll pause the video and we'll tackle some of the questions. So let's see here. Well, we know we have a block of 3. Minimum 3, right? We know that both of these blocks are min 3. Now, unlike the other game that we played in class, these two blocks could sit right next to each other, right? Because I could have 3 right here, 3 right here. We have 6 spaces, so we could, it's not going to create a problem. Whereas with one of the other the games that we played, we had something that was like a min 4, and we had only 7 spaces, so they couldn't sit right next to each other. So all that really just means is that since we can put these blocks right next to each other, there's not going to be as much that we can actually fill out mostly in the middle. We're going to be concentrating primarily on the ends, what's going on here. So, basic things here. I know that, for example, I can't put G over here, and I can't put G over here, because I have to have 2 spaces behind G in order to accommodate the K and the H. So that's, there's basic thing there. And for the same logic, I can't put an H over here, because I have to have at least 1 space behind H to accommodate the K, right? So we got those sorts of things going on right now. Let's see, what can we do over on this end? And by the same, kind of same reasoning, we can't put a K over here, and we can't put a K over here, because I need to have 2 spaces behind it. I can't put an H over here, because I don't have space for the G. What else can I do? That seems to be just about it right now for the K block. I'm not seeing anything immediately that's leaping out at me right now. But let's see. Okay. Let's move on to the MJL one. Well, same thing. I can't put L right here because I have to have 2 things behind it. And I can't put L right here because I have to have 2 things behind it. Let's see. I can't put an M. Well, no, wait. I can't put either M over here because remember, our 2 options are M, we have to have space to have an L after M. We also have to have space to have a J. An L after a J, so I can't put J over there. What else could I not do? I think that's all that's leaping out at me right now. Right? Because I could put an M here, because we could have M, J, L. We could have J, M. We just need a block of 3. Yeah. So far, I'm probably missing something obvious, so those of you, send me something in the comments or whatever. Like, oh, you should have done this! You forgot to do that! And you're probably right. But, yeah, that's all that we can really do. We can't really do much in the middle when you have blocks that could sit right next to each other, right? We have a block of 3 right here, and a block of 3 right there. So that doesn't give us a whole lot that we can wiggle around with in the middle, but we can look at the ends, the extremes there. The only other thing I would point out is, very importantly, when you're making a list of what you can or cannot put, try to think about what your options are. Notice with 6, seems like that's our most restricted space. We can't put K, H, M, or J over there, which means that 6 is going to have to be, it's going to have to either be a G, either a G or an L. This is important. So think about it like this. Remember, if we have a game where we might have to try out a couple of different options, this would be the space that we play with, right? We know that 6, there's only one of 2 things that can go there. Only the G or the L. So you can try out playing a couple of different games with that scenario in mind and see what happens. Okay? So this looks like that's how we would do our quick master sketch. Not so quick, it's pushing 9 minutes here, but, it's just me yammering away. So that would be our master sketch. Basically wrote down our 2 rules here, the KHG, MJL, and then what was restricted over there. And then now, once we have that sketch set up, let's go ahead and try some of the questions. But I'm going to do that in the next video.